Happy Victober 1st. Yay! It's the most wonderful reading time of the year. I just love Victober so much. So this is the start of my hopeful Victober vlogs. Hopefully I can keep my act together to actually film some weekly vlogs for you during this time. So, what are my plans to start the day? Actually, spoiler alert, this is actually after work that I'm filming this. So we've already gone through part of the day. I am actually going to try to at least read something, a little bit of something from every book that I have on my TBR. So I already posted my TBR video, but let's just run through them and I'll talk about what I have already read today and what I still have to read this evening. Okay, that's better. Now we just have all the artificial light on in the living room, but that's fine. The first thing that I started out reading today was Middlemarch by George Eliot. I have actually already started my reread of Middlemarch a few days ago, I think like Saturday, which, a lot of people start Victober early. And I don't feel any shame in that because we all read a ton of big books in the month of Victober. And, it's not really always possible to read all of these in the span of 31 days. Yeah. So anyway, I started out reading Middlemarch today, and I am just loving this reread. This was one of my first ever Victober reads back in probably 2017, maybe 2018. And I liked it at the time, and I think I listened to it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. And, I just wasn't really a good audiobook listener yet. So I feel like I missed a ton and didn't really have a good grasp of all the different subplots and everything that's in this. So I have been reading this physically along with an audiobook just to help me actually get through it. I feel like I needed an audiobook, but I do want to read it physically. And I'm starting, I don't know if you can see, I'm starting to tab parts that I really enjoy. There's no code or anything. I'm just tabbing in pink tabs all the things that I am really enjoying in the book so far. And I'm already feeling like I have a better grasp of the characters. So yeah, I am highly enjoying this. And I'm reading this with my friend Alicia from the new BookTube channel, What's Allie Reading, and Adventures of Stitching. If you're one of my stitching friends, I will leave both of her channels down below. The next thing that I read today, which I had also started in advance, was the group read for Victober, which is Hester by Margaret Oliphant. I'm buddy reading this with my friend Joe, and we just decided we're just gonna go rogue, go off on our own. And we started this over the weekend as well, I believe. So I'm a fair way through it already, and it's great. Joe and I have been reading through Margaret Oliphant's canon with it in the past year and a half. And I would say this is by far her tightest, most confident novel that I've read by her. In terms of the writing style, the descriptions, the character development, she just seems like she is a really strong writer in this one. I can see why it's her best known work so far. So actually, that is all I have read so far today at work on my breaks and things. But I also would like to read some of Our Mutual Friend, which is the group read for Kate Howe's Patreon group for the month of October. We started reading this in September. We were supposed to get halfway through it. I did not. This is as far as I am. So I have been listening to it an audiobook just to try to get through it more, but considering that I didn't, I think I'm going to do the same thing that I did for that I'm doing for Middlemarch, and I'm going to just read along with an audiobook version so that I can, stop, and if I need to like reread something, I can reread it, and but I can also do other things while I'm listening at times. So I think I'm going to try to utilize both physical and audiobook for these two chunky books. And then I still want to read one or two sonnets out of Sonnets of from the Portuguese by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. That should be easy. It'll take me 2 minutes. But I want to read at least maybe two a day because I think there's 44 sonnets in there. So two a day should be plenty. And then I want to read at least a couple pages in The Beatitudes by Charles Spurgeon. He was a Victorian Baptist minister, I believe. I believe he was Baptist. But yeah, Tiffany and Dia and Chrissy are all, and I'll put all their channels down below. They are doing a read along of this during the month of October, and they always do a great job with the read alongs. They have lives every weekend, and they are all three so insightful when it comes to theological works, and especially Spurgeon, because Spurgeon can be a little bit difficult to read at times and to understand. And they just really break it down and are really, really intelligent about the whole thing, quite honestly. So I'm really looking forward to another nonfiction read along with those ladies. And the last thing that I think I want to read tonight is Sherlock Holmes. The Speckled Band is a short story that Kate Howe recommended to me during one of our pre-Victober live streams in her Patreon group. So I was talking about wanting to read more from this edition, and she told me The Speckled Band was one of her favorites of his. So I'm going to read that one tonight. Oh, and so the other thing that I failed to show you in my TBR video was what I plan on crafting during the month of October. And every year I have tried to do a Victorian, or a Victorian literary work for my stitching. A couple of years probably, I did a Jane Eyre piece, which I have since finished, and it is awaiting me hanging it up in my craft room where it belongs. I still haven't done that yet. Maybe I will make that a Victober goal, is to order a mat so that I can frame it. Maybe I'll try to pop a picture of it if I can find it anywhere, or if I can take another picture of it, I'll pop a picture up there. But the one I've been working on for the last couple of years, I believe, is Minnie the Library by Heaven and Earth Designs. And the artwork is by a artist named Talmouche. Auguste Talmouche, I believe, is his name. And he was actually French. So technically, he wouldn't be a Victorian. But he was painting within that time period. But this looks like a Victorian lady who is reading, so I use it as my Victorian Victober stitch. And here I hopefully have posted what it looks like when it is done. And here is where I am. So I already worked on it today, and I worked up in here. This is like her back area. So it looks kind of funny right now. But my goal for the month of October is to work on this almost exclusively. I have one other non full coverage, non Victorian related thing that I'm going to work on this month. But this is my main piece I'm going to work on. So I just want to see how much of it I can get done. And I'm going to try to fill her in. And I'm thinking I might try to go up into her face and maybe into the book that she's reading. So to get a little bit more of her actual person filled in. So that is the plan. So it doesn't look quite as scattered like that, but you can definitely see her arm now. So that's great. So I just have to start filling things in a little bit more. That is my update and my plans for the first day of Victober. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, so I thought I would show you my stitching from this week. This is Autumn is as Joyful by Lila Studios, and I'll pop a picture of what it will look like fully. And I have been working on this turkey guy. I actually finished this motif here at the beginning of the week, and then I moved on to turkey. So that is where I was really excited to get to. So he's working up really fast. So I'm really liking him a lot. So that is project number 1 that I work on. I try to do 100 stitches every day through the autumn. This is my Victober project because it is a Victorian style lady um, and reading a book. So I thought it would be appropriate for Victober. And I have now gotten 1,000 stitches on it from where it was at the beginning of the month, which I will also pop a picture up of where it was at the beginning of the month. So I've gotten a lot done on her. But this is becoming one of my favorite projects. I just love watching this woman come together. Good morning, friends. We have just completed our first week of Victober. It is actually Thursday, the 9th of October for me, but I wanted to get through Wednesday because October 1st started on Wednesday, so we are through the first week. And I have been able to read 552 pages of 5 Victorian works. So the span over those 5 Victorian works, I have read 552 pages. So what did I actually get to this past week? I read some more in Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens. I am still not anywhere near where I should be, and I have basically been listening to this on audio, which I really didn't want to do. That's why I bought the physical book, but it's just worked out that way because I was trying to get back to where I should be for Kate House Patreon, because we are going to be, um, having a meeting about this book at the end of the month. So I was trying to get past the first half, uh, but I think I'm still in book one. So I don't know. I am really enjoying it upon reread, I will say, because I'm slowly remembering more of it from my first read through, which I think was also on audio. And I think that partly that is because even though I'm listening to it, a lot of times I am reading it while I'm listening. So it's still kind of giving me that reading with my eyeballs visualization that I feel like is necessary for me to retain certain things. So it is helping. But yeah, I am really enjoying this one so far. I don't know as of yet if I would say it's one of my favorite Dickens, even though I'm rereading it. But I really haven't read that many Dickens, to be honest, so I am reserving my judgment for now. The next thing that I did get a start on was The Beatitudes by Charles Spurgeon. I wasn't able to participate in Tiffany and Diaz and Christie's live show last Sunday. I think it was Sunday. Yeah, pretty sure. No, it was Saturday. Anyway, one of those days on the weekends, I was not available. So I wasn't able to participate in the live stream, but they read the first two chapters. And I'm not quite through the two chapters, but I'm going to try to get to that and get to the next two chapters by this live show. So this is going to be my priority read for the next couple of days. And then the next book that I actually have physically, and I actually have been reading almost exclusively physically, has been Middlemarch by George Eliot. I'm reading this with my friend, excuse me, my friend Alicia from What Allie Reads, or what Allie's read. What has Oh my gosh, I will link it below. It's a new channel, so I'm still getting used to what her channel name is. But anyway, my friend Alicia and I have been reading this, and we've actually been keeping up pretty well with our little schedule that we made for ourselves, and it's fun to discuss it with her. And this is another one that I didn't remember a whole lot about, and a lot of characters I kind of had forgotten about. But I am finding that the same sections that were a slog for me in this, um, spoiler, the Lydgate sections, are still a slog for me. I do not enjoy medical, political, religious, meanderings. I don't care. But so those sections are a little long for me, and there was an extraordinary amount of it in this first week. So that's been a bit of a slog. So sometimes when we have those sections, I do turn on the audiobook because I'm like, I can't care enough to read this with my eyeballs without falling asleep. So, but the Dorothea Casaubon sections I do really enjoy. They are very intriguing. So I do like this book. I just don't care for the Lydgate section so far. And then on my Kindle, I have been reading Hester, which is the group read for Victober, but my friend Joe and I are reading it together, and we started early. So we are over halfway through it, and man, we are really enjoying it. It is just, I would say it is one of Margaret Oliphant's best written works so far that we have read, and we have been reading as much as we can of her for the past year or so. And so far, this is definitely her most well written. Her characterization in this is like just spectacular. She just puts a lot of depth in all of these characters to where, like, the main character to me, because she is young and she's headstrong, is annoying to me a lot of times. But I also totally get her, and I see where she's just a normal teenager. She's angsty. She just assumes things that, are not necessarily 100% true, but she will take them to her grave because she's just sure that's what all the adults are doing to her. And so, it's just, Joe and I both said, teenage girls are teenage girls, no matter if they're from the 1800s or the 2025s. So, Catherine, the other main character, who is an older lady and is kind of like the matriarch of this town. She is just really an in-depth character too. She is like kind of nasty to people and judgmental to people, but she also realizes that about herself, but she doesn't necessarily try to fix it. She just knows that she's like that and is like, oh, that really, I know I shouldn't be that way. But she just continues to be that way. So, oh man. But yeah, just just a great book so far. Unless it goes terribly south on me, it's definitely going to be a 5-star read. I'm almost certain. So yeah, yay. And then, oh, and I also started Vice Versa by F. Amstay. And this one I'm loosely buddy reading with Dia from Novel Idea and Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia. Dia has checked in on the first 5 chapters. I have not yet, but I am just about to start chapter 5. I will say I'm reading this on Kindle, but I have been using like the talk to text feature, and it's fine for me. It's working perfectly fine. I have that with Hester too. I'm listening to it with Kindle talk to text. But Dia and Tiffany are both using a LibriVox audiobook that they found. I was unable to find that because I guess it's on Spotify, and I don't have like the Spotify premium thing. And they both said that it was just kind of hard to get into because of the readers, at least at first. Because I don't know if you're not familiar with LibriVox, it's all volunteer, which is great. And they read a lot of classics that are not already in audiobook from like major people like Audible and everything like that. But um, they're not the best people to be reading an audiobook. So, and often one book will have a bunch of different readers, but it's not like a full cast audio. It's just, one person read one chapter, another person read another chapter. So I totally get that. I have had that experience with LibriVox before, and it's been less than stellar. But I also do appreciate that people are willing to take their time to do that and get those classics out to us on audio. So I try not to disparage them too much, but anyway, that LibriVox recording is apparently on Spotify for Vice Versa, and but it is not on actual LibriVox, the app. So I couldn't find it. So I'm having to read it on Kindle Talk to Text, which is fine. That was a big tangenty kind of thing. But anyway, they said it's hard to get into because of that. But I am liking it. I don't think it's going to be a favorite yet. I expected it to be funnier than it is. It is funny, but it's not. I'm not like rolling on the floor of the antics that these two guys are getting into. Anyway, I probably described what it's like, but it's like a Freaky Friday kind of switching thing between a father and a son in the Victorian times. So they have done the switch, and we have been since then following the father who is in the body of the son, and he has gone back to the son's boarding school and just kind of following his antics and what he's getting into because he's still like in the mind of the father. So he like can't stand all these little kids, and he's like saying and doing things that are totally out of character for the actual son. So everybody's like getting on him and stuff. So that is funny, but it's just not quite as funny as I was maybe expecting so far. And I'm ready to get to the son who is in the body of the father. I kind of feel like that's going to be funnier to an adult. So, but I don't know. Maybe I'm putting too high of expectations on this. So, but anyway, I am going to end the vlog here because it got kind of long and I've talked a lot for only a couple of clips. But I hope everybody is enjoying their Victober so far. What have you read in the first week? Did you actually finish anything? Um, what has been your first or your favorite thing so far in Victober? There has been a lot of Victober YouTube content so far, which is very exciting. Kate Howe has put out a lot of Charlotte Mary Young content, so that makes me very excited to start the Charlotte Mary Young that I have, Love and Life. I did not get to start it in the past week, but I'm going to try to start it in the second week. And yeah, I have a 4-day weekend coming up, so yay. I took Friday off and then we get Monday as a holiday. So I am excited because I don't really have any plans other than I am taking my best friend to the airport on Friday. That's why I took off. um, but other than that, I don't have any plans. So I'm hoping to get a lot of reading in, which and stitching, which will be exciting. So stay tuned for my next vlog. Hopefully there will be a lot of content. So, all right. I hope everybody's having a lovely week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.